What comes first in your choice of e-mountain bike? Is it the motor or is it the brand? And this is a subject we're going to be discussing on today's EMBN show, as well as all the electronica from all parts of the globe, all the action you guys have been up to in the past week. And so we are joined by the technical wizard himself, Doddy. Doddy, how's things down in Somerset? Is it Somerset?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Yeah, all good. Sun's out again, so it's always nice to see, even though I'm locked up indoors all day. But we'll worry about that later on.
So Doddy, the question is, do you go for a great motor and not so good geometry, or do you go for great geometry and a not so good motor? This is the question. I mean, what's your feelings actually out of the gates?
I don't know if this is a feeling or if this is just this is how it is. But I think you've got to go for the geometry outright. The way I see it is, whatever motor system you're going to be using, it's going to be giving you assistance, yeah? So there's no point having that assistance if the bike doesn't handle right on the terrain and it doesn't fit you right. I think geometry is everything on any bike.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not just talking geometry, we're talking sizing as well. So it's really important not to buy an e-mountain bike just because there's the last one left in the shop and it's a little bit too small for you and you'd be talked into it. But geometry, we're talking a few different things, such as, you know, it's pointless having a great motor with a crazy short chainstay, which means you can't utilize the power of that motor going up a steep climb. Yeah. And at the same time, it's pointless having an e-mountain bike with a crazy long chainstay, which is great at climbing, but when it comes to going downhill, you're going to be pitching over the front of the bike all too often. But Doddy, I think the mountain bike industry has got its act together in the past 5 to 10 years in terms of geometry on mountain bikes, right?
Yeah, I think on the large part they have. I think probably the bigger problem though is the way that's communicated to the end consumer, really. I think it's very confusing with a lot of the marketing that's done out there. Everyone talking about going longer, lower, slacker, bigger. And I still see people buying bikes that are too small for them. Yeah,
absolutely. And also, in terms of e-mountain bikes, in the traditional mountain bike market, you've got cross-country bikes, you've got enduro bikes, downhill bikes, but on e-bikes, it's not quite the same. Although I think a lot of brands have got bikes which are 140, 150, 200 mils. So when it comes to your choice of e-mountain bike, travel still is an important factor. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you liken this to enduro bikes in the non-e-bike world, the argument for having them tends to be, well, they climb so well, so why wouldn't I have all that travel? Yet having all that travel actually makes climbing a hindrance if you're not super fit and you're really good, and it actually makes descending a hindrance if you're not a really good bike rider. To a degree, it can sort of desensitize you to the trail. And I think the same could be said with e-bikes. Like, whilst you can climb anything on any e-bike, whether it's got 180mm travel or 140mm travel, it's not necessarily the right bike for you, because if the bike's a hindrance and it's holding you back because it's too much of a handful, you're not going to enjoy it as much, I think.
Yeah, I think agreed. Yeah, I think that's the key word there, is desensitizing things. So it comes back to the type of trail you're riding and the type of riding you do, which actually brings me on to the next point, which is actually, if you've narrowed it down and you're looking at motors, now at the minute there's two different motor types on the market. You've got the lower powered Lapierre E-Zesties and the specialized Levo SLs, or you've got the slightly higher powered e-mountain bikes from the likes of Shimano, Bosch Bros, Yamaha and TQ. So I think that as well is a decision many people have to make. Do you go for low power or do you go for high power?
I mean, the way I figure it is it's assistance, and you're going to get different options. I'd still come back to I'd pick the bike that is the right option first and then deal with the motor setup second, whether it's a good motor, a bad motor, a high power or a lower power. I know the lower power options, there's less choice out there so far.
Yeah, there is. But it seems the majority of people are going for the main brands such as Shimano, Bosch Bros, Yamaha, TQ, Panasonic. Now, even when you've chosen your motor, let's assume you're making your choice based on a motor alone. Now, even that has got some complexity to it. You're looking at the different torque, you're looking at the battery capacity, you're looking at the type of control and display on the bike, because after all, you can either go for the minimalist or the sort of incredibly detailed approach. What's your take on that?
Okay, well, the way I see it is I've got a good amount of horsepower. I'm comfortable attacking most things to climb, but I'm really heavy. So I would probably focus on the battery power myself. I'm comfortable enough to ride a heavier bike around, so I don't mind having the extra weight of the bigger battery. And let's face it, being a heavier rider means I'm going to have weaknesses on those sort of longer, slower climbs. So I am going to be likely to run it in a higher power setting than someone who's a lot lighter than me. So I do think that's a huge consideration.
Of course, and then a very important factor is the different e-mountain bikes. You've got open or closed systems. Now, the likes of Specialized and the recently launched EP8 motor from Shimano, you can actually customize that motor to your liking. So you can either make it sort of more active or less active, and you can tone the power down, or you can really get into the nitty-gritty of tuning your motor. So that's an added choice which is faced with people at the minute as well, right?
Yeah, I think that is amazing to have that choice. I can imagine though, from a consumer point of view, it massively complicates things. Look, the camera I'm talking into right now, at the moment is on autofocus, yeah? And I've actually got it on auto ISO because it changes so fast in here with the light outside, even though I've got it lit in here. It's a pain, whereas when I'm taking photos, I would always use it on fully manual. So I can imagine there's going to be elements of that creeping in where, to start with, you want to just let it do the work for you. Why would you mess around with the settings where you don't know what the effect is going to be?
Yeah, absolutely, Doddy. There's a great argument to say automatic mode is probably one of the best modes on e-mountain bikes. But guys, let's know your thoughts. Does the motor come first, or does the shape and style or suspension travel of the mountain bike, is that more important to you? So please get involved in this discussion. It's something that does dominate people's time, I think, Doddy, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the same, it always has been. People love their tech, they love their choices, they love their options. Sometimes it simplifies things by not having them, I think.
So guys, hopefully you saw some of our recent content on Adventure Week, and to go with Adventure Week, we've got a range of merchandise, so don't forget to get involved in the shop, as well as some of the recently launched fresh colours on EMBN. Now, coming up on the channel this week, we will be in Finale Ligure and Pietra Ligure over the next few days. So don't forget to tune in. We'll bring all the action. We'll have the preview show, we'll have the highlights on the weekend, plus a load of the tech from EWS. So all the motors, all the batteries, you name it, we will be covering it on EMBN.
Jones, one thing, please tell me that you are going to have a go at a power stage.
Oh yes.
Come on.
Oh yes.
This is what you're all about. That's what you want to see.
I am so looking forward to tackling the power stage and how difficult is an EWS-E power stage. I mean, we did see all kinds of action from Zermatt.
Yeah.
We saw people actually not locking their forks and reducing the travel on their forks.
Yeah.
Now, we had a video up a couple of days ago on is reduced travel faster up the technical climb. So maybe it is in certain climbs, but Doddy, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be getting stuck in to some of that Pietra Ligure limestone, that's for sure.
I'm really excited. I think this is the coolest thing to happen with e-bikes, period. You need to put your heart rate monitor strap on, because I think people need to understand just how insanely physical it is. So I reckon you're going to be absolutely maxed doing that. I think it's really cool.
No, do you know what, Doddy? I'm glad you mentioned that. It is a point many people frequently miss out when it comes to e-mountain bikes, and that when you are tackling a super technical climb, it's so physical, and the sort of there's the strategy element of the climb, there's the line choice, there's your heart rate, because when you're wrestling a mountain bike up over roots and rocks for 5-6 minutes, it's pretty exhausting, I can tell you that. Yeah, but yeah, look, I'm looking forward to watching actually how the pros negotiate those hill climbs, because obviously we've got some incredibly skilled downhill racers currently riding EWS, the likes of 10 times world champion Nico Voulios, and it's interesting to see how their skills are when it comes to technical uphill trails as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's phenomenal. I think that's a video in itself, to be fair, but there's a lot of other talent out there, as we know. Okay, so now it's time for some comments and questions from you lot. So this week we're going to talk about the comments in relation to Chris's bike packing video, the one we tackled the South Downs way. So first one is from Igor, and it says, more of this please guys. For me this is more interesting than shredding e-mountain bikes at bike parks. Do you know what, I totally agree. Maybe it's because it's so different and it's not something that everyone gets to do. It makes it quite exciting and it's a bit of a getaway, I think. What do you think, James?
Yeah, I think so. I think e-mountain bikes are reintroducing us to what we did on mountain bikes back in the 1980s.
Yeah,
you know, these adventure rides. Brent Yallop, love the fact that you guys persisted with the ride despite the conditions. It goes to show that the world is not entirely made of Insta-worthy moments. Nice, yeah. Absolutely, Brett.
Do you know,
I
think the best moments are the ones that are definitely not Insta-friendly. They always are. Yeah. That's when the trouble happens, the mud happens, the mechanicals, the swearing. That's real life, isn't it?
And the bogs. Did you guys tune into Wales the hard way? Plenty of bogs in that one.
Oh yeah. Okay, next up is from Robert Waldron. Thanks, really opened my eyes to the fact you don't always need to go to Scotland for long off-road trips. Well, yeah, of course. You can. There's off-road trips probably on your doorstep if you actually sit down and sort of scour the web a bit to try and find some stuff to ride. It's all out there.
Yeah, but Scotland is cool, though, Doddy. Scotland is a cool place to go and ride an e-mountain bike. And finally, Damien Hazil says, should have gone from Winchester as the prevailing wind is normally from the west. I did think that. Why on earth they went east to west? Who organised that trip? Okay, guys, it's time to see where you've been, and it's the out and about section of the EMBN show. This from Tim. Now, this is pretty extreme bike packing, I have to say, Tim. Last summer I put in over 4,000 kilometers riding across Canada on his e-mountain bikes. This year I changed my setup to a more bike packing streamlined setup. It's far better. I spent about 30 days and 2,000 kilometers on the trails and back roads of southern Ontario and Quebec this summer. Wow, Tim, I gotta say, this really is adventure e-biking at its best, I think. Some great kit on that bike. I can't imagine what you've got, what you've got on the bike there. Doddy, but moving from that part of the Atlantic to the other side of the Atlantic.
Sorry, I was just fascinated there by the mileage. I'd be interested to hear what he's wearing out on his bike. I think that's be nice to know for a future show. That. Yeah. So this one over to Saltbox in Apuseni Mountains in Transylvania, exploring with friends this 60-kilometre trail with loads of lovely downhills and very nice climbs, about 1,000-metre climbs. That sounds a bit more like my sort of cup of tea. Breathtaking views of the mountains and great weather. Great fun at the weekend, yeah. Dude, on your high bike S Enduro 5, very nice.
Transylvania, now there's a place I'd love to get to.
Hold on, we're going to have some kind of Freak Week Halloween-y thing coming up soon.
Yeah. Yeah, Sabolks. I think we might be on the blower to you to maybe have a trip over there.
That sounds awesome.
Now, over in Fort Ord in Monterey, California, this is from Stephen, and he's out there with his relatives. So Stephen says, my father first purchased his Turbo Levo, and my brother and I would borrow his bike to ride the local trails. But it seems that Stephen and his family have gradually got more and more involved in e-mountain bikes, and now here's basically a picture of a dad, his two sons and his grandson riding e-mountain bikes out in Monterey. Cool. I mean, yeah, and I think we're seeing much more of this. You know, families riding e-mountain bikes. You know, partners or mother and father and son or daughter. We're actually seeing it on the trails, certainly here in the UK.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely opening up the riding scene. It's got to be a good thing. Hey. Yeah. Next one is from Daniel, and he's got his 2020 Kenevo comp with the Sprindex coil. So that's one of those coils that you can change the spring rate on. Kind of cool, that. 4 spaces up front, dove grey red. Location in Germany at the River Wear. So this is Daisy's French Bulldog miniature trail bull terrier mix. Cooling spot after running the trails. Kind of good off topic, I like this. She's 1 year, 4 months old and runs 15 kilometres. I can't believe that little thing runs 15 kilometres. Yeah. With an average speed of 13 kilometres an hour, which is great for her small legs. Dude, that's amazing. Yeah. I'm genuinely blown away by that. Absolutely loving the show and the information you give out the great work. Thank you. Thanks for watching what Jones and Chris do on the channel. It's awesome.
And you, Doddy, and you.
A little bit. Okay, so now it's time for Bike Vault. This is where we get to check out all of your cool bikes. If you want to get involved with this, all we need is a cool picture and a bit of description of where you took the picture, basically. So get involved. There's a link underneath this video. It takes you through to our uploader service. Super easy to use. Okay, so let's have a look up on screen. So what you can see here now is a awesome looking 2019 Turbo Levo Expert from Edward in Missouri, USA. Solo ride, I've ridden this trail many times, but I had to stop for a photo opportunity. Dude, I think that's a wicked picture and a really nice backdrop. And your bike looks great against it as well. Yeah.
Nice or super nice, Doddy?
Yeah. I'd say super nice, you know. I'm a really big fan of that. It's quite an alternative photo.
Yeah. Super nice then. From the Connector Tunnel to Lost Valley Trail in St. Charles, Missouri. Beautiful. Now moving across to this part of the world, this is Mark and his white E150 RS up in Wolf Tracks in the Cairngorms. That's a super nice shot. And the white bikes, obviously we recently took the white bikes from North Wales to South Wales. Don't forget to tune into Wales the hard way if you've not done so already. That is, like I said, super nice, Doddy.
Yeah. I'd go super nice again. Also the location up there is not somewhere I've spent much time on a bike, but I'd love to. The picture makes it look great. Next up is, author is Mark, this is his Canevo 2020. Location, unhelpfully though, just says High Street, wherever that is. Been the title, it says Lake District, so I figured it's not High Street, it's actually in the Lake District somewhere.
Whoa, Doddy, High Street is the name of a place in the Lake District.
Oh, okay, my bad.
God, you need to get out of my Doddy.
Yeah, well, people on our show comment with their addresses sometimes, so it could have been saying he lives on the High Street. Yeah, how am I supposed to know that?
Yeah. Sorry. Super nice, all right?
It's nice.
It's nice, okay. Nice. Tony's on his Vitus E Escarp VRX 2020, Galloway Forest, Scotland, with some raging water. That's nice.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah. Prefer it if it was a drive side out, but understandably trying to get the background in.
Moving across to Australia then.
Wow,
and
look at this.
Look at that. Paul and his Giant Rain E Plus Pro morning ride. He's 52, he's 100 kilos, and he tries to get out at least 4 times a week.
Nice.
And covers 120 kilometers and 3,000 meters of climbing. This is my second e-mountain bike. They really are the future of the sport.
Decent, yeah. That's a nice for sure.
Yeah. And then moving across to Avon Forest in South Wales with the old
E180.
Nice. Yeah. That's nice. That's nice with the old. I'm trying to say the windmill. The windmill on the side there.
The wind farm, you mean?
Yeah. Now this is actually a shot we had on Out and About last week. This is Adam and his Specialized Levo comp in Yallingup, and this is the Cape to Cape Trail. Now I was going to put this in the Bike Vault last week, but I forgot to. But I have done this week because there's a lot of coastline shots that we get in the Bike Vault. And by the way, if you haven't got your bike onto the Bike Vault yet, please keep sending them in, because you will get it on one day. It's just we are just overwhelmed with the amount of cool images of locations you guys have been to around the world. So don't get disheartened. Please keep your photos coming in. Dolly, that's a nice shot, isn't it, from the coast there?
Yeah, but I think the bikes are super nice for me, so I'm loving the colour of that. Is that a standard colour? I've not seen that one.
Yeah, it is.
I'm out
and what
the
about
loop.
Doddy, move on. Let's move on now to Epping Forest and Scott and his Santa Cruz Heckler. What do you reckon of this shot?
Amazing. He must have been lucky enough to not see anyone dogging in the forest there. So I've actually ridden through there with a few friends and come around the corner of a turn and seen something that you don't expect every day in the forest. But good riding there, that's for sure.
Super nice, super nice.
Yeah, definitely.
I love this shot. I love this shot. Oh. This is Graham and his Trek Rail 9 2021. This is in Northamptonshire. I like the light on the bike here, Doddy.
Yeah.
If you can see it.
It almost looks flash to me. Yeah, that's good.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a nice clean background. I think it's a nicely put together shot.
Has he done a 3-2-1 and let go of the bike with a friend, or has he propped it up and photoshopped out the stick though? What's he done?
Oh,
you see, there's a little stone as a chock under that back wheel, so Graham knows what he's doing.
He does, Graham. I mean, fair dues. There's only one way that is going, Doddy, and that is super nice,
100%,
right?
yeah. Definitely.
And that's the way we end this week's Bike Vault, and I think that is probably the bike of the week, the Track Rail there out in Northamptonshire. Guys, thanks for joining us. Don't forget, we will be at Pietra Ligure for the EWS-E over the next few days. So, like I said, we'll be bringing lots of content from there. Doddy, great to see you.
Thanks for having me, and don't hang me out to dry too much over that high street thing. How's I supposed to know?
Well, how about I try and take you up to High Street and we have a e-mountain bike adventure sometime over the winter.
Yeah, that sounds great. Count me in.
Thanks for joining us, folks. See you next week.
See you later.